Serious men, what's something that would surprise women about life as a man? Definitely that we also enjoy compliments. I just got out of a 4-year relationship and during some reminiscing thoughts, I realized she never once told me I looked nice or called me handsome or anything. I told her she was beautiful every day for 4 years, and I don't even know if she found me attractive. Edit, holy upvotes. Thanks to those who called me a cutie patootie. I have high self-esteem, which is probably why I didn't notice what was going on till after we broke up. I learned a long time ago that no one is going to love me the way I love me. She was a good girl. I'm sure she didn't realize she was doing it. It sucks. I've been there. We're also the ones that are supposed to initiate sex when we don't even know if our girl is attracted to us. It's stuff like this that gets me some of the most. Constantly being the one who had to take the risk, put their foot forward first, take charge first. It's exhausting. Like, sometimes, couldn't you just decide on where to go? Couldn't you sometimes initiate intimate moments? Couldn't you sometimes message me first? I've finally found the girl who I think I match with damn near perfectly. But the communication is such a huge issue. It's exhausting, and if we don't fix it, this will stagnate and I'll never feel like it's right. But she is an attractive girl in a world where her social media posts get all of the attention, and as far as I can tell all of her conversations are initiated by her friends. I don't think she understands what it's like on this end. She has a huge network of people interested in her. I'm just an average Joe with a few good friends and some acquaintances I am friends with. We pretty much go through life unnoticed, save for negative attention. I have been going to a pet supply store for about a decade, and although I'm always greeted nicely, I'm generally left alone. I walked in with a baby in a carrier one day, and I was greeted by everyone, and every single employee went out of their way to ask me what I was getting and if they could get it for me. I was fully capable for getting a 30-pound bag of dog food and the baby, but one employee simply wasn't having it. He ran to the back to grab the food and carried it to the checkout and then carried it to the car. I was shocked. I told my wife about it and she said, "They do that every time you go there, don't they?" Apparently this is the service she receives every single time she goes there, or pretty much anywhere with decent customer service. She was shocked to hear that I didn't receive the same service. How much we would like to feel wanted and not simply useful or needed. How much pressure there is on us in terms of body image. We hear about all the crap women go through, but ever stop to think about all the size jokes? That alone can cause insecurity, and that doesn't even touch things like losing your hair, graying, muscle mass, etc. That we really do care about a lot more than society says we do. We're just not allowed to show it because that's a sign of weakness, and we're taught at a young age that you have to put up a perfect image or no one will ever want you. That first point hits home. Sometimes I confide in my wife that I don't feel wanted, and she gives me a crooked look. She goes on to explain all the reasons I am useful and needed in the household, but never expresses how or why I am wanted. I like kids. Kids are funny, they like breaking rules to have fun, and they still have an imagination. I don't kids. Hell, I hardly adults either, but that's beside the point. A girl I went on a date with last week showed me a picture of this adorable little boy, her neighbor's son, and told me sometimes she goes to the neighbor's house just to see him. When I told her that I didn't think that would ever be the case for me, she seemed sad and asked why. I'm a guy. Hello, Susan, it would make my night if I could take your goofy 6-year-old daughter out for ice cream. I've had a very depressing day. You can off before I call the police, how's that? That works too, have a nice night, see you never. Same for me. I've always fought my children and we are totally goofy. I just love children. They are clever and funny, cute, and have awesome imaginations. But no matter how cute somebody else's child is, I would never ever want to be alone with them or get into a tickle fight. You know, I almost put touch them on the last sentence, but in my mind I thought, oh man, that would sound bad, when in my brain I was thinking picking up a 2-year-old and saying hi to them. Society is sick. Men have just as hard a time overcoming stereotypes as women. You, a woman, want to learn how to ride a motorcycle or want to be a programmer, and you don't want to be a housewife or spend all day cooking. Good for you. You, a man, don't want to cut the grass, or learn to fix your car by yourself, and you want to spend all day cleaning the house and sewing pillowcases? Wake thee up and support your family. I get dirty looks anytime I mention that my wife does the mowing and most of the raking, like I've failed as a husband. If anything I've won as a husband, I've got a wife that loves me enough to do hard annoying work because she knows my allergies will knock me on the. Same with cooking, oh, giving the wife a night off. Hell no, I cook every night, she knows I hate doing the dishes, so we made deal. Man, this angry rant made me feel good about my wife, lol. The complete and total lack of regard or value for our own lives. Both internally, and all too often, externally. I don't mean to pick fights here. But when you hear about women and children first, men must register for the military, draft, etc., it gets ingrained in you. You learn, slowly but surely, that your value is contingent upon what you do and not just who you are. You never feel truly satisfied just being there. Just existing. You always feel like you have to constantly be working at something. And, God forbid, you ever become unemployed. Then, you are essentially invisible. A homeless woman is often seen as more of a pity or someone to be sympathetic to, she must have been abused, etc. A homeless man? He's seen as a threat. He's seen as an outcast. There is little sympathy. Even though, oftentimes, he may have gone through those same exact issues as the woman. It often feels like, on a certain level, society tends to see any problems that women have as being externally caused. Whereas, men's issues are often seen as his own failures, doings, etc. Men's problems are seen as being internally caused. Men are seen as having more control. Which can be beneficial if you are wanting to be in a position of esteem and power. But it can also be harmful, if you're struggling with a mental illness or just to make ends meet. And that's why, I think, we so often refuse to seek help. We don't want to admit that a problem might be there. Because we're afraid that it'll turn into an indictment of ourselves and no one will sit there and say, "It's not your fault. You're good enough. You're valuable just as a human being." Because I've never felt that a man's life is seen as unconditionally valuable. It's valued so often based mostly on what he does or, failing that, doesn't do. Women and children, by contrast, are valued just by being. And it's a bitter pill to swallow, once you grow up and become a man. You still remember being valued. But it's just not there anymore. You're supposed to have all this control. But you don't. Eventually, that pill all too often becomes literal. That's why we turn to weed, video games, painkillers, the internet, social media, alcohol, heroin. Wherever we can escape to and pretend that we have control through or have value in. Hugely important issue. Everyone, in my opinion, and especially men, should read this recent article on loneliness from the New York Times. Now, I've noticed a couple things that relate to this issue. First of all, I've observed men form deep friendships, and relationships generally, through shared experience much more than talk. It simply doesn't feel like support if you are just talking to me about me unless we've seen some together, which is a key difference for women. I've observed women feel the support of strangers, which does not happen for men. The void that is male loneliness can be filled by the camaraderie of joint work on a project, of following a team, or scientific/political/business venture for us nerds, together, and of discussions/arguments that may seem idiotic or distant to the true issue. At this point I'm mostly just talking out but just remember that convincing men to talk about personal issues is usually like convincing a wall to talk. Instead, take me out to a movie, to a diner for a milkshake in a silver cup, to the gym, or to a cooking/shop/craft class. Second, I want to talk about older men for a second with regards to loneliness. If the things I said above apply to us 20-somethings, they apply tenfold to the generations before. Many older men have lost some or all of the friends that shared their experiences. To cancer, murder, time, etc., these friends are gone, and it is, or seems, nearly impossible to ever form a comparable replacement, so older men don't even try. They may form surface friendships at the bar, but as I said, that's hardly gonna scratch the itch of loneliness. It might keep them going, but so many older men just look and act like husks of their former selves because they no longer have friends. Sorry for the wall of text, but this issue is huge.